Awaken to your truth that you are the I Am presence in harmony with the divine. You are consciousness beyond what the body and mind identify. Your hosts Linda Hope and Sharon Berkowitz will remind and enlighten you to know your divine nature. You were born into the body already aware, but forgot it as you expanded your sense of identity, ego mind, pattern behaviors, and habits. Stop sleepwalking and wake up to your timeless, eternal, formless self. Now, here are your hosts of Moment to Moment, Linda Hope and Sharon Berkowitz.
Aloha, everyone. We're calling you and talking to you from the big island of Hawaii. I'm Sharon Berkowitz, and I'm filling in for Linda Hope this week. And thank you, Linda Hope. And just want to welcome the audience, everyone listening now and at any given time. This is going to be a fun and miraculous interview with a good friend of mine, Hope Johnson. And the title of this interview, that's my husband, Steven, sitting next to me, is Hope Johnson, Empowering You to Find Hope Within. So you can play with that line a little bit. So I'd like to bring Hope on as I introduce her.
They gave me that.
Welcome, Hope.
Aloha. Yay. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we're kind of neighbors. We're on the same side of the island.
Yeah.
Very, very fun.
Yeah, very close. We're both in Lower Puna.
That's right. We are. So let me introduce you. Hope Johnson has devoted her life to undoing the sense of separation in the mind we all share. This includes forgiving her misinterpretations and helping others, in quotes, establish and deepen their relationship with their inner guide through compassion, forgiveness, wisdom talks, and essential oils. As the founder of Miracle Botanicals, author of Unschooling for Parents, and curator at hopejohnson.org, Hope has made it her mission to provide people with the tools and knowledge they need to get released from perceiving a separate self and world. That'll be exciting to talk about.
Yes, it will.
Yes. Hope's interest in essential oils and their healing properties began when she discovered their ability to facilitate emotional and physical well-being. This led her to start Miracle Botanicals, a company that offers high-quality, pure, and therapeutic-grade essential oils sourced from around the world with an unwavering commitment to quality. Hope ensures that each product is carefully crafted to support the mind's healing purpose. And I use them and I love the oils, the essential oils.
Oh, yay. Thank you for playing with them.
That's the idea, right? Just seeing that vibration, feeling the vibration. It's about the feeling.
Yes. They're very playful.
Yes.
As you probably know.
Yes. Oh, the scents are amazing. Through hopejohnson.org and many podcast stations, Hope shares her spiritual teachings. Her teachings are rooted in the understanding that there is no separation and that the mind's only purpose is joy. In addition to her work in the spiritual and essential oil arenas, Hope is also a mother, wife, and entrepreneur. She believes that by listening to the inner spirit rather than the ego, everyone will be released from suffering and death. So these are words we will talk about because some people may not understand what those are. So welcome, Hope.
Thank you. I guess people don't usually have death in their bio.
That's kind of a surprise, but it's also a wake up. It's helping people to understand, hey, maybe there's more to what we see here that we think we see, that we believe it to be true. So,
exactly.
And this might get us started into our first question. In the dream of awakening, how did you know that you were even awakened?
Well, that's kind of like a question that doesn't really make that much sense to me because
Probably doesn't.
because there's just awareness being aware of itself. There's not like a separate person being awake. You know what I mean? Like people might perceive me like this body as awake, but that's because they identify as a body themselves. That's not really anything. I mean, basically just awareness, being aware of itself, is at peace and it's at ease and doesn't have any burdens.
Yes, and that's the calmness that comes about when we recognize and just realize our true self, our true natural being self. But there's a lot of people that say, well, I get really emotional and I have, all these frustrations or this anger.
Yeah.
And what would you say to people like that?
Well, that's not you. That's the ego reacting to things. That never touches you. That's not you. So, your goal doesn't have to be to be relaxed. Your goal can just be to see things clearly. The relaxation comes as a result of that. Now, when you're not relaxed and you're feeling jumpy or anxious or anything like that, you know, that's the moment that you can take that as a cue to let yourself off the hook. Because when you perceive yourself like that, the tendency is to then beat yourself up and say things to yourself like, I'm not there yet. See,
And
that's
that's all illusion, right? That's
yes,
just
that's a
something that
lie.
we made up. We made that something to be real. And then
Yeah,
we started to believe it. We started to
that's
actually
right.
start believing that to be the truth. And we're just really covering up our natural being self. And like,
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
Like no one is more awake than another one, let's say that, okay? There's just awareness being aware of itself, which means like if awareness is watching itself and itself is being perceived as jumpy, awareness doesn't care.
no, why would it? Because
What
it
why
doesn't see
why
it
are
as
we
being
caring?
real.
Right.
Right. And I always love what Papa G says, that you are the true self and not who you think you are.
Exactly. Yeah. So, perfect example is someone getting anxious like right in front of me. I'll like perceive someone get real jumpy and anxious right in front of me, and they'll look at me and they'll tell me they're sorry about it, and I'll be like, no, you're not doing anything wrong, you're doing awesome. And that's really the way to see yourself. Even if you're in the midst of some triggered reaction or anything like that, you're doing awesome. You're always awesome. The things that you're perceiving, let me turn my sounds off. Things that you're perceiving in the field of your awareness are not touching you. Those are not about you. Those aren't meant for you to evaluate yourself.
Right. And it's just an opportunity to see the gift in that. And
Yeah.
what it is something, it could be something reflecting back to you, because what you say about another person, you're really saying it about yourself.
Yes,
And
definitely.
so that's the gift. And it shows
Exactly.
up in a lot of strange wrapping paper.
Yes. Yes, and I see really subtle things like games that people play and games I play too. I mean, it's all the same. So, I had an experience this weekend where I witnessed someone drop their drink on the ground on accident apparently, but the drink fell on the ground and it hit a carpet. The carpet was pretty nice, and someone said, you were distracted. And the way they said that they were distracted, I was just like, whoa. It was really like kind of like rocked me, because I could feel the shame in it, and I could feel that it was, and I could sense that it's a self shame. It's just that's a self shame being projected. And when something like that occurs in my view, like where someone seems to be in shame, basically I just see the truth about them. I see the truth about them. I see the truth about the person that they seem to be projecting onto. Just see the truth in it. That's all that's being asked. And in that, there's a gentleness, there's a relaxation with it.
Yes, absolutely. And it's the willingness. to see that, to see the truth in it, that nothing really happened.
Yes.
You know?
And basically that takes denying any meaning to your thought. And, you know, the way we were being taught to do it this weekend in the workshop we attended together,
which is Radical Awakening with Ramana, which was a fantastic workshop that we will talk a little bit deeper about.
Yes. And you interviewed him last week, didn't you?
We did. He was on Moment to Moment last week. So I invite everyone to take a look at that. You could Google on YouTube, for example, Moment to Moment, author Ramana.
Mm-hmm. So it was interesting because what Ramana was teaching about looking from, like, you're looking through the back of your head, and your head's like a paper mache, and then you're looking out your eyes like that, and then you're looking back on that basically emptiness, and you get into a visceral sensation of that. That is basically denying meaning to whatever thoughts are occurring to you. That's basically the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing A Course in Miracles is talking about. It's like it's kind of like giving you some kind of technique to use as a device so that you can deny meaning to those thoughts. Basically, you're not pursuing them. That's what's denying meaning to the thoughts, because they're arising in your perception, but you're focused on feeling the sensation as if you're perceiving from back here and looking through your eyes. And it is so much more like that than the perception like you're in here behind the eyes perceiving everything.
Right. And it's the space of awareness. That's what Hope's talking about, referring to, like in the back of the head. If you can picture even your fist back here, or imagine even an orange ball being thrown all the way back, and just perceiving an openness, an expansion, awareness. And when it comes through, that awareness comes through through your head and through your eyes and then outward. Just imagine and have a peripheral, like a wider peripheral vision. So that way you're not tunnel visioned, and that you have this open expansion awareness. And that brings you, actually, I wanted to say that too, that you're having, it wasn't just having an experience, but their true identity was the very space of consciousness itself. So you're experiencing that awareness itself, and it's not anything to do with ego or a conditioned habit or a conditioned perception. What happens is then it becomes more of a natural, perceived recognition and discovery of itself.
Yeah, basically what A Course in Miracles would call true perception.
Exactly. Who is the true perceiver? Certainly not the ego.
The Holy Spirit is.
That's right. And if we can just relax into that, and then as we do that, then the idea that we are experiencing, there is a feeling or something does arise, we let it arise. We don't block it from occurring. We just naturally let it occur, but we're not attached to that feeling. And what happens is it starts to dissolve away in that expansive awareness.
You got it.
I like what he said too, that you could even do this. I'm not saying to do this anybody, but if you choose to, you can imagine yourself even driving home, and you're in your car, and you just imagine this openness behind you, and you have this open expansion of awareness, where everything looks like the colors look deeper, like just being in the field, just playing with that.
Yes, exactly. And it's funny because it's like, for me, it's the same sensation. It's the same sensation that had been coming over me, like, the peace of God, the kind of, you get a visceral sensation of that. And it's just using a different device to get there. But ultimately what it is, it's the mind's willingness to deny any meaning to the thoughts that are occurring.
Yes.
To be in that state requires willingness to deny meaning to the thoughts that are occurring. Otherwise, you're just not going to do any of those things. You're not going to imagine that there's the presence behind your head, the perceiver behind your head that's looking through. That's one device that you could use. I've been telling people for years, you don't even have to go that far. You can just like pinch yourself real fast and put your attention over there. And the thoughts that you were thinking, where do they go? They disappear because the focus of your attention went to where you're pinching yourself. You were willing to go. Notice, like, if you're walking around and you have this thought in your mind, and then all of a sudden you stub your toe. What happened to that thought? It's gone, right? Because your attention went to the toe. That's basically it is really that simple. It is really that simple. And you know what? For me, with the radical awakening that I went through with Ramana, the big point was that he said, there it is, you got it. And he had me hooked up to a machine that showed him when I was in what's called heart coherence, which is basically where you're not thinking any thoughts. That's really what it means.
Right.
Heart coherence. Right. And he said, that's it. And I was like, I am so familiar with that feeling. So it was that what it was for me was that confirmation that, okay, when you're feeling like this, basically, you're in the presence. And it's like, for me, I'm like, well, why ever not feel like that? If it's just a choice, it's just a choice to feel like that all the time. Why ever not feel like that? And, and what I notice is when I am not feeling like I'm in the present, it's because I'm making a choice for the world instead. I'm making a choice as if I'm right here behind these eyes. See, that's why I said in that workshop, everyone in this room, and really everyone who's listening to my voice right now, you got it. All you have to do is make the choice. And don't let your perception tell you what choice you should make. Your perception is meant to give you evidence of what's not true. All it does is present evidence. It's the means for showing you what you wanted to believe. So it's like you have to decide otherwise. You don't take it, there's like, let's say there's a piece of shit on the table right now, right? A dog just comes and craps on the table, right? And it's like, would I take that as a reason to get upset right now? Right? It's like that. The perception is just like nothing. You can apply it to being stuck in traffic. You can apply it to someone yelling at you, whatever. The perception is all set up to make you jumpy, anxious, fearful. So don't worry about it if your mind goes out like that. You can just watch that. Right?
Right.
Like, ooh, that's disgusting. That freaking stinks, that piece of crap right there. But the thing is, the one reacting to it isn't me. And because of awareness that the one reacting is not me, that one that I've projected into space-time can calm down.
Yes, exactly. And I love what you said, Hope. That resonates so true. It's like, if you're a parent and your child spills milk, for example, I mean, why get upset about the spilled milk? It's already spilled. Okay. So you just go through the actions, through the motions. So you're not using words. You're just going to let the action come through and you'll clean it up. You don't have to get, entangled in that emotion, but you can observe something coming up, but not being a part of that. And the one thing too about thoughts we were talking about earlier, that thoughts are nothing unless you make them mean something.
Yes, that's right.
So the thoughts that are out there, they can be out there, but it's how you are reacting. If you're going to have a reaction to it, then you might want to take notice of that. And then just know that you can still be at peace through that. Like I always say, you could sit in a rock concert and you can still have peace.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
And it's all coming from where? Where is it all coming from?
It's just nowhere.
It's nowhere. It's a state of being. It's that choiceless state, right? So
Right.
it's
Well,
not.
knowing that you have no choices in the world allows you to make that choice that is basically your goal to make that choice. And it's a choice for truth.
Mm-hmm. And once you're in that choice for truth, then ultimately there is no choice but truth.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah. And, I can give you an example just today. I came down after my shower. I run Miracle Botanicals, and I came down to do my mail, and I sat down. I was on maybe the second order out of 10. There was 10 FedExes, and FedEx comes and picks it up. And I saw the clock, and the clock said it was 10 to 10. And all of a sudden it came out my mouth. I'm so late. So what does that mean? Nothing. It absolutely means nothing. It's an opportunity for a full body experience, though. It's giving an opportunity for a full body experience. As soon as it comes out, it's like, oh, that's not true.
Right. Exactly.
There's not even any such thing as time. So you see, it's like there's a perception, and the mind goes out. It's like it moves. It moves forward. That's what I see, like a forward and slightly downward motion vibrationally. Okay, and the mind goes out like this, and it's like it just comes back to you when you're just willing for it to be what it is. It's just like, okay, you're just experiencing that. You're not trying to stop it. You're not trying to change it. You're not evaluating yourself. Nothing like that. So that's what I mean by it's a choice, and it's in this moment. You know what? That is actually performing a miracle.
Yeah, absolutely. And miracles are just a natural way. People look at something, oh, that's better than that experience, or I like that better. And then, something the opposite happens, right? Because we live in that sense of duality, and being that this is the dream, we're experiencing through a dream that we think we need to awaken.
Yes, exactly.
Concept that
and
you're
it's
not
a dream
even
of awakening. And it's a dream of awakening. No one's waking up.
Right. And that was my first question. That was my first question to you. It was kind of like a trick question, but
it's a trick question. Yeah. And one way of looking at it too is that each of us is the Christ of our own world. So it's our responsibility to wake up for our world, like basically for our world, like our part in it is only to see through the illusion as it is. And when I'm saying waking up, I'm saying right now, in this instant. It doesn't like live in the body of a person. It's just right now in this instant. Would you be willing to see that differently?
Mm-hmm. Is that something like the present moment that you're talking about, or can you go a little bit deeper into that?
Well, yeah, everything that we're getting a perception of, that is the past playing out. So our mind is in the present moment, though. That's where the power is. That's where the choice is between the truth and what we've made up. We've made up. It's not even being made up right now. It is the past thoughts playing out. But what's present now in the moment is you. So in that, when there's a choice for truth, like in my example, how, it came out of my mouth and there was a visceral feeling that I was late. I was late with my mail. Like maybe I wasn't going to get my stuff out today. Now the ego will come in, and the best the ego can do, and I saw this too, the best the ego can do is say, it's okay if your mail goes out tomorrow. Right? That's the ego story. That's the best the ego could do. But what's really you're getting an opportunity to see in that is that this feeling that's arising is about no one. This thought and feeling, they're actually about no one. There is nothing happening. So that's where that willingness to come, comes in. And, at a point, people are getting more and more positive thinking. That's the ego's way, positive thinking. It's okay. It can go out tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with that. When people are learning, they go more and more positive in the ego, and then they just go beyond that. So there's just another, a step beyond the most positive ego you can think of.
Right. And love, we say that, okay, if you're in that mindset or that state of love, like seeing everything as love. So, for example, like when we look through our eyes and we're perceiving outward, and also when you're driving, don't think that you just look that way. You want to keep looking forward and seeing outward. But when you are looking through your eyes of love, then you'll notice everything is beautiful.
Yes. And the key there, that at least for me, this is what I found. The key is self-love. And I know that sounds kind of cliche, but look at it, apply it to my example. I didn't start shaming myself. I didn't start evaluating myself. I didn't go on a tangent with thoughts about it. Or, oh my gosh, I'm whatever today. There is no day either. There's only this moment where I'm alive in the moment. I'm only alive in the moment. The past, I'm not alive in that. I'm not alive in my reaction where something came out of my mouth. I'm not alive in that. I'm alive right now. And right now I have a visceral sensation. Okay. So that's the self-love, is allowing myself to be as I am without trying to evaluate or shame or pick apart a person who seems to be reacting to meaningless things.
Right. And also I want to just add to that. It's like the knower, like being of a true knower. Like, what is the knowing that is behind all of this? Like, who are you underneath before you even came here physically? Right. And knowing that, it's like somehow it's more like the core of who you are, the true self of who you are. Like, for example, you see the sun, and then the clouds cover the sun, but you still know the sun is there. That's like knowing.
Yes.
Like, you also have a knowing that you're breathing. You're just naturally breathing. That's a natural thing. Or a baby laughing. My son the other day was playing airplane baby, where you kind of like put the baby through the air and the baby's laughing and chuckling, 4 months new. And that's such a natural flow, natural love, that just that sound coming out just makes you smile.
Yes.
And that natural smile, that's just who you truly are. That's that calm, that peace, that joy that we were talking about, that's who you are.
Yes.
Also, I want to make an announcement that if anyone has any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And then we'd be glad to take a look at your questions, or, feel free to do that. So it's that keeping that sense, right? That sense about you, that state of awareness, just being open and aware. So yes, that's where the true self is, in the Mithya, in the dream. We don't want to, make this real, because there is no separation. The separation never occurred.
Right. And we didn't come here and get inside of bodies. It's not like that at all. We're projecting a thing. Mm-hmm. We're projecting a thing. So it's like, no one is here. No one's behind these eyes. Okay. In the dream, like what we made up is a bunch of mushy shit behind those eyes. Okay.
Right. That's not separate
in there. Right. There's not anyone in there. All right. There's only awareness, and there's only awareness, and that's not coming from inside of a body. That's a misconception that we're inside of a body. That's why there's that fear of death, because there's a belief that we're inside of these bodies, and our perception has been that these bodies always die. Okay. So then there's this sense, like there's even a sense like there's rest in death. That's why it's common to say rest in peace when people die. Right. But these bodies don't really die, because they're never really born, and you're not in them either. It's like a play. It's like there's script and there's actors in a play, and you seem like you're one of them, because it's a microcosm of consciousness. Perceiving is just perceiving, is doing nothing. So
go ahead.
Someone said here, someone from Facebook said you can be in combat and have peace. And it's like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, you don't have to be sitting around in meditation to have peace. I mean, if you feel like sitting around in meditation, that's awesome, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. Let's put it this way. It's necessary if you find yourself doing it. right?
Right. And it's also realizing and understanding who you are. Like you are eternal. Like when you said, the body, you think the body dies. Well, first of all, do you really, you have a body in the egoic mind that's projecting to make this world. And underneath all of that, awakening from the dream, knowing that, you are truly, formless, beginningless, endless, single, we're all unity, we're oneness consciousness. That's where that comes from, is that we are eternal. We're that eternal flame that burns within. And yet, that's how do we ignite ourselves in this world is one level, but who we truly are is really understanding that. And if we had that knowledge, and if more people and the world really recognizes who we truly are, we wouldn't be in this current state of affairs.
Yeah, well, I would just watch out for that more people part, because it seems
more people like that.
it seems like it seems like we can all do it, right? We can all do it together, but really, that tends to become a stressful thought too, because then you're depending on other people in the world to wake up. And it's like your happiness only depends on what you're choosing in the moment. That's the thing to really get clearly, because your world is your world. There's not the world. There's your world. Everyone in it is perceived by you. Your world wakes up through you because of your willingness to relax. And it's a dream of awakening. No one is asleep. It's a dream of awakening. So it's like
Shakespeare says this too very wisely, that everyone else is just playing a role in your dream.
Mm-hmm.
They're just roles, and they're reading your script. In other words, you have your own script, and you're projecting it out, and they're just playing it back to you, what you need to see, and learning what the gift is, or just understanding that, wait a minute, this is all a dream. This is the Maya, the illusion. And so it's awakening again, from this dream.
Yep. And that's also a dream. So that's where, you know why I say that. It's not just to be profound or something. I'm saying that it's a dream because it's up to you. It's, it's another way of saying it's up to you what you will make it. It's totally up to you. If you want to make it a dream where you're waking up, then you know what's going to occur. You're going to dream until you're all the way back to sanity. Dream your ass back to sanity, because it's just an insane thought that we're even here.
Right. And all of this is an inside job. It's really just up to the person. Like as the Tao Te Ching says, that stay at the center of your universe. You are the center of your own universe. So there's really no others out there. We made that up as well.
Yes.
But that's also awakening from the dream.
And the person, let's go back to the person now, because the person's being projected into the field. Okay. Mm-hmm. And True. The person that's projected into the field, that's not who we are, that's the one that's actually choosing to let go of this world. It's actually choosing to let go of this world in as much as like you'll let it. It's really interesting. It's like a matter of what thoughts you will pursue. What thoughts you will pursue. That's like the choice. The choice being made by the program separate sense of self is actually a programmed choice. You are the programmer. Right. Depending on whether you're choosing to believe in these, let's say, the reactions that you're having, or the reactions that another person is having, or the certain things in the world. It's you choosing whether or not you're going to pursue a thought or not. But the projected sense of self, that thing is programmed. So it's acting. That's why it says in A Course in Miracles, the forgiveness is like an effect of or the miracle is an effect of forgiveness. It's almost like it comes later. It comes after the fact. And that's because when there's forgiving your illusions, which is your choice that you're making, that image that you projected in the field is being reprogrammed to just be different. It's to just not be so committed to what it believes to be real. Its beliefs change because of you.
Hope, and that's why they say too that everything is predetermined.
Mm-hmm.
It's already done, and
Yeah.
we're just playing it out. We're just playing
That's right.
a role out in this physical, dream that we made up. And so it's just recognizing that, but having infinite awareness flow through us so that
Yeah.
we could be in this world, right? I mean, in this world, but actually function with actions,
Yeah.
not using
Viewing
so
the
many
world.
words.
You're
Say it
viewing
again?
the world. You're viewing the world.
Yes.
Viewing. That's a really good way to look at it, because we're used to perceiving as if we're in the world, right? And really, myself just saying that right now, that's program stuff. And that's because I'm able to say that because of a choice, to see things as they are. You can say it's a previous choice to see things as they are. And that's why it's like, to me, I'm not in a body. It's not like that's not my normal languaging. I'm not saying it can't ever come out of my mouth. I think it's awesome when something like that does come out of my mouth, but it's not my normal languaging to act like this, that we're in bodies, and to have it come like that. And that's an example of the programming having changed, which occurs on its own. I don't do that. I don't change the programming. All I'm doing is choosing the truth, and the programming is changing on its own. So you can say that I'm directing it. I'm directing the change of programming whenever I would choose the truth that's only in this moment. Okay, so that's why we're viewing this image of this person waking up from a dream. Okay, so it's like, in the moment, would you allow this person relaxation? Because basically this person is either building stress, okay, because of your choices, that's it's building stress, or it's releasing stress, and its programming is determined by that.
Okay, we can look at it that way, but also be aware of the inner spiritual director who thinks.
Well, okay, I know where you're going with that.
Not the doer, right? You know
Right.
where I'm going with
I know
that.
where you're going with that, and I got that cue when it was as soon as it was coming out of my mouth, because I had a feeling I knew how it was going to be taken because of what was said in the workshop. Okay,
Right.
there's a
That's where I got
spiritual
it from.
director. There's a spiritual director that's right here in the back of behind the eyes, and then there's who you are that's really directing the course of your mind. There's two ways to go. There's two ways to go. There's truth and there's illusion. So the spiritual director that Ramana was pointing to, which is a really good teaching, the spiritual director is the one that's directing you on what spiritual practices you should do and how you should be spiritually in the world. Okay, that's the spiritual director that he's talking about. But what I'm talking about is something different. I'm saying there are two thought systems in the mind, and right now you choose the direction, the course that you go on, whether or not you're going to side with the spirit or side with the ego.
And that's from the Course in Miracles.
Yes,
that's from the Course in Miracles. It's like you have one choice or the other choice, right?
That's it.
Because, true, the spirit, Holy Spirit, or you're choosing ego.
That's it.
But as you notice ego coming up, like people, our audience, so just so that they're aware of the lingo here, the egoic mind is the biggest trickster. It wants to convince you that you're not good enough, that you're so late, or, I'm making it up.
I love that.
Or why did you do that?
Old. You're so old.
You're so old. Or you need to lose weight.
Yeah.
Or, all these different things. So that's the egoic mind. And we're looking at the Holy Spirit, which is more compassion, ease, something that's effortless, things that flow, like you're flowing, moving through life in the flow, you're not in resistance to something or anything. So you're just maneuvering that way. And so that in the appearances, there's something that everyone, because we're all the same, like you mentioned earlier, Hope, we're all the same. And there's a part of us, which is that piece that knows who we truly are, that really knows this is a dream, that knows that we're just playing this out like a hologram. It's almost as though, it's all predetermined and it's already been done. It's just like now you're making that choice in this hologram that's already been predetermined.
Yes, exactly. And I love that too, because it's like every single scenario has already been played out. So it's like when you're making the choice for relaxation, really it's two choices. Relaxation, and there's a comment on here, you can be in combat and have peace. That's right. It's still a choice. Let's say you're fighting in a war or something, physically on the screen, right? And you're viewing yourself fighting in a war. Still, you have that opportunity to choose relaxation. It's mental relaxation. It's basically thoughts are occurring to you very fast, and you're just identifying with those thoughts. So it's like when you would be willing to see clearly that those thoughts have no roots, you'll be shown that. You will be shown that, and that's relaxing. Okay. The other direction is to take this as if it's really real, as if you're really doing it, as if you're really the one fighting the war. That's stress and tension. See that? So it's putting it on to basically you can't feel stress and tension. You're not created that way, but you've projected an image in the field to feel stress and tension for you. And when you decide for the illusion, you put that on the sense of a separate self. You put that stress and tension on it, and it's being programmed accordingly. Basically, everything that it experiences, the way it's treated by you, pretty much, that's how it goes. Will you allow it to relax, or will you put stress and tension on it? That's its programming. And that's, the more stress and tension, the more it's gripping to the world. So you just want relaxation for that person that you seem to be. That is the compassion, allowing the relaxation for that.
Yes. And in the workshop, Radical Awakening, and Hope, just to speak to what you just said, that the feelings or the stimulus are caused by the thoughts, the thought feeling bundle, as Ramana phrases that. So you want to notice too, that from the space of the awareness, what happens to that thought? What happens to that thought? So it's being perceived, which is how it's being felt, that even so that there's nothing, it's just of awareness. And that's the arising from a thought. So you want to step back a little bit from that, so that way you could perceive it, be that perceiver from expansion of awareness, knowing that, I'm having that, that anger come up. But that's not me. But you recognize that, but you can step back from it. So count to 7. Don't go past 7 seconds with that anger, right? You just kind of let go of it, just knowing that you did have that experience of anger. But then what you're doing is you're going into that expansion awareness, so that anger doesn't even exist in that space.
Right. So to put that like in a really practical sense, because there's not really someone who can let go of it, but there's of course the desire to be released from it, right? There's that desire to be released from it. So to put it into something really practical, just put your attention anywhere that's not the middle of your head. Because from the middle of your head, where you seem to be having the perception of all of the thoughts, those thoughts seem like they're real. So it's, it's back to...
Aren't they real? We think they're real because they're right there, right? Everyone thinks, it's in my head. It's got to be real. I'm thinking
because we're projecting ourselves here into the head. We're actually projecting ourselves into the middle of our head. And all we have to do is take a shift of attention. It's kind of like a little jump or a little leap of faith. Okay. That's why, whatever works for you, putting the attention from the back of the head, perceiving it as awareness like that, putting your fist back there, putting your attention back to the fist. I've seen it work so many times over and over again by just pinching yourself, because then you put your attention to the feeling of the pinch. You don't have to do it hard. It's not punishment, but you're just putting your attention to the sensation of the pinch. That simple thing changes everything. That is a demonstration of your willingness to see things differently.
Right, because you're taking yourself out of a misperception.
Yes,
and
that's right.
Because you had a misperception, you can say, well, show me another perception, show me another way. Because when we're open and have that willingness to be open, that's when the field just starts opening up for us, that we receive downloads, we receive information that help us to make decisions, that help us to see opportunities in that gift.
Yeah. And even, this thing that does the pinching, that's a separate sense of self. So the choice that you're making, the choice that you're making is to offer that willingness to be released from the thoughts in the first place. The suggestion to pinch yourself, that's another device that you can use. And that'll be used as a matter of course through your willingness to see it differently. You're not going to find yourself pinching yourself in a moment when you're triggered unless you're willing to be released from that thought.
Great. Now, Stephen has something to say.
Yay.
I just want to say that this conversation is really high. And if you can follow this conversation, it's really what it's all about. This is what awakening really means. This is what awareness really means. This is what it's all about. Mm-hmm. So congratulations to both of you. This is great.
Yay, I'm so glad you're enjoying it, Stephen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And I so appreciate you, Hope, with all this information and sharing. And I know you've been practicing this and doing this for years, yes. Helping people and to see things differently and so on. But I wanted to talk to you more about something else that we've been doing, block therapy.
Okay.
Awesome. So I just want to bring that up because I know that you've taught a lot of people, and now Stephen and I just started doing some of the block therapy too. Can you explain a little bit more about how people in the world, like how they can help their bodies?
Okay. Well, basically, block therapy is a device for compression. It's a physical exercise where you have a block and you're using this block of wood to access pain that you're projecting into the body sense. Okay. Mentally, it's used like this. This is how I use it. Basically taking the block to go into the pain. And when the pain is surfaced to where I could feel the sensation, that's what I mean by it surfaced, right? I could sense this sensation. Then that's when the awareness is going into the sensation. Now, thoughts are always occurring, right? There's all kinds of thoughts always occurring in the mind, even when there's sensations, unless it's really intense sensation. That's not my goal, though, to make super intense sensation. I want to have a really nice, calm, relaxed breath while I'm practicing, and watch what thoughts come up. Turn the attention back to to that sensation. This is a practice for the life, basically, because there's always some kind of painful thing coming up. The heart itself goes out of resonance with what's true, and in that, pain is being projected. Also, in the body sense, there's twisting. It's projected as the fascia. The fascia becomes hard. It twists around. It deforms the body. It makes a sense like the body's aging. And that's all coming from the mind. The fascia isn't anything either. That's all coming in from the mind. It's symbolic of the way the thoughts have been wrapping around. So we're bringing it up in a very physical sense because we're, having a physical block of wood and bringing up pain that's already present in the body. We're not trying to make pain, but the pain is projected, and what's projecting is fear. So the thoughts that come crossing the mind while you're in any position, bringing up the pain, those are it. That's what's being used to prop up this world for you. They're just coming in, and you just turn your attention over again with the breath, with a really calm, relaxed breath, and back to the sensation in the body sense. There's actually, the body itself is a sense. Okay.
Right.
So it's all back to sensing somewhere other. Really, this is another practice for sensing from somewhere other than the middle of your head.
Right.
Unless, of course, the block is in the middle of your head.
Oh,
It never really makes it there. I've had it on the top of my head, forehead, sides of the head, all that. But still,
right.
even when you're putting the attention to the sensation that's there, it's still not like that perceiver that seems to be that you're projecting into the middle of your head, like it's looking out of these eyes.
Right. So the block therapy, in the dream, and the idea that there's a sense that you have a body, that there's a sense that you're having thoughts, that there's a sense that there's even scar tissue, that the fascia isn't even in alignment, because what the block therapy does is to help put everything back into alignment, bring your fascia into alignment, get rid of compression, because a lot of times, we're behind a computer or we're driving a car. So kind of notice how you're sitting, notice your posture, notice how you're watching TV or watching us.
Yes, it's increasing awareness, definitely. When you put the block there in any position and you're breathing with it, you get more familiar. It's like awareness can be more aware of that particular area, because it's like you're blocking it off. You're blocking off awareness of that particular matter that you're projecting, right? Mm-hmm. The matter isn't real, but it's coming as a sense. And what happens is when we're projecting pain, we're blocking off the sense. So awareness can't be aware of all of the senses that are coming through. All of the cells, they're getting compressed and kind of like deflating and just coming these tight little things, and it's like they're not active. What this does is make them more alive. And basically that is symbolic of awareness having more of a visceral sense of the body. So then you'll be walking around later, and you'll be more aware of how the feet feel on the ground. They never really touch the ground. They're always in space. But there's a certain feeling of how they are on the ground. There's a certain feeling to that. There's a certain feeling of how even your knee bone is over your ankle bone. All right. And how your ankle bone is in relation to the feet bone. And all the way up the chain, it's all like that. The more there's awareness of the body sense, the more you're able to basically forgive your illusions. That's what I've found. The more you're able to be aware of the body sense, because you can see, like, I can notice little tiny tensions, you guys. I'll be over there. Like, I write notes to my people who buy stuff from me on Miracle Botanicals. I'll be writing little notes. I'll notice if one finger gets tense. And you know what? Once I notice that one finger got tense, it relaxes. For one, I don't feel like proceeding with a tense finger, right? It's like a little bit of cells kind of like contract. That is that illusion of this contraction of the cells is symbolic of a contraction in the mind. And every time there's a contraction in the mind, that's an opportunity to gladden yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Like if I hear something and someone said something or I said something that I know, wait a minute, that wasn't correct. I might like feel like a pain in my shoulder or my arm or even in the buttocks, that didn't work. That doesn't sound right. Because there's the body just isn't responding. It's like a sense that it's receiving some kind of a sensation about a thought or even a feeling. And that projection is going out of the body, but you're feeling it. And that's what the block therapy does. The block therapy is it helps to bring out that pain so that now it's an awareness so that it can dissolve and put everything back into alignment. So let's say, and someone said that they're receiving, great benefits there. For example, that their yoga moves are getting better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because now they're releasing that pain and suffering that they believed and they were holding on to in the body, because the body was holding that. So, and you mentioned about your essential oils.
Yes.
So would you like to share about that?
Yes. Miracle Botanicals is an essential oil company that I started in 2011. This one that I'm smelling right here is an organic Roman chamomile essential oil. It's all pure essential oils, steam distilled CO2 extracts. I love essential oils because I feel like they're messengers of the spirit. And, when I first started, practicing with essential oils way back when, it was like this for me. I would notice an upset thought, and basically I would know it was an upset thought by a feeling. If there's a feeling in the body's energy field, my practice was to go over to my essential oil cabinet, get an essential oil and smell it. Or, if I'm out, I had them in my purse. And what I noticed was when the sense goes to the aroma of the essential oil, there's like a pause in whatever it is you're thinking, and a pause in that sense of feeling. So it's another one of those tools that we can use. And it's also used as medicine for anything that, seems to be ailing you. There's essential oil for that. And when it comes to medicine, it's like anything that does seem to be ailing you is only coming from a thought. It's a false belief. It's only coming, that's all. The only reason there is something that seems to be ailing you. That's why your medicine can be something as sweet and gentle as an essential oil, because all it is willingness to see yourself as you are. This unwillingness to see yourself as you are is projecting everything, the illness, the aging, everything. And essential oils can help with that reprogramming that I'm talking about. Okay. It's all reprogramming. When you're doing block therapy too, that's reprogramming. It's the way that you're using things. And, essential oils are in such a way, they're such a high vibing consciousness that you really can't use them in a wrong way. It's like with a block, you could use that in a wrong. Well, I guess you might not proceed it. You might hit yourself on the head with it. Right.
I hope not, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I like the essential oils because, it's a really good, healthy way of having another perception coming through, that you're sensing it now, and it's good plant medicine. And you've put these oils together, like you've combined certain oils, essential oils, pure essential oils together that have this wonderful scent. Mm-hmm. And the names that you've come up with are just amazing. So I encourage everyone to go ahead and check it out.
Like this one, Wisdom and Stillness.
Wisdom and Stillness.
You love that one.
I love that. And the funny thing was about that particular scent is that, I asked you, I said, did you bring this one that I was asking for?
Fairywood.
And you pulled one out of, the Fairywoods. And you pulled out Wisdom and Stillness. And I said, well, I guess I need that. And it smells great. And a friend, I had it in the car with the Fairywoods, and she came in the car and she says, wow, it smells like sage and it smells like really beautiful. And I said, well, smell this one. That was a Stillness. Yeah. And how beautiful, so people are also in tune with really what is in nature, like when you were walking through nature, being in nature, and how that's uplifting and raising up vibration. So that way you're raised up out of the egoic space.
Yes, and it's a gift for sure.
Yes.
It's a gift.
It is a gift. So, but I want to thank you so much for coming on to the end of the hour. Was there anything else you wanted to add before we close?
Oh, well, I would like to add that you can go over to Miracle Botanicals to get this plant medicine. And that's one way for me to communicate with you. If you'd like to reach out with me in any other way, you can go to hopejohnson.org/wisdom dash that's a hyphen dialogues. Or else just go to hopejohnson.org and look for the Wisdom Dialogues tab. You could see where my stuff is right there. There's a way to reach out to me and contact me right there. I do offer whatever arises in the moment to offer. Plant therapy, essential oil consultations. These little guys. I could tell you about block therapy if that's interesting to you. I could help you with a radical awakening if that's awesome. If that resonates for you, just reach out to me.
Yes, sounds great. Can we post that up on the screen? And how to contact Hope?
Should I just put it in the comments here?
Yeah. So put it in the chat. There it is. Thank you.
Oh, someone did it. Oh, there it is right there. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Thank you. The magic, right? This is the magic in the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, you did it 3 times. All right. Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Hope Johnson, for joining us today on Moment to Moment on WLTK-DB Talk Radio. And thank you to our viewers for joining us today. And no matter when you listen to this, may it resonate and be with you. Many blessings and love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're such in gratitude for this moment, and we appreciate and love you. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Ahui ho.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.